So, hi everyone, continuing where we left off, we were understanding how to render this app.js file into by injecting a React script for React and React DOM, and then internally injecting our app.js and then rendering this whole app. We were also trying to inject the styles, so let's see how that is done. We are just adding a link to the style sheet on the current directory at styles.css. So let me run this and show you. It's already running on port 5500. If I go to no frills react, we can see the styles are applied. We have some background over here and the h1 styles are applied. So let me have some fun with the app.js file. We can see that this is how we create a container. We take the div of corresponding to the id root and then create a container out of it, and then pass that container to a root element using react dom.create root, which creates a root, and then we render that root. We just create a element which is an app, and then we render it inside the root. So let's try and make multiple containers and see what happens. Let's name this a container 2, which, let's say, takes in a root 2 for instance, and then create another root. Oh, okay, let me first also add the root over here, and we can hopefully render it over here. So let's see how this looks. Okay, I think I did something wrong. Root 2. Okay, this is container 2. Yeah, we can see our app is rendered twice. So that's fun. So let me revert that just for my sanity. Okay, also remove the console log and remove the extra root div. So moving on to the lesson over here, we've seen how to render using a normal script tag. Now let's try to understand about the package managers. We've heard about npm. Npm does not stand for Node Package Manager. It is, however, a package manager for Node. They don't say what it stands for, but it's most likely a Node Package Manager. npm allows us to bring code from the npm registry. So let's see how the npm registry looks like. This is npmjs.com, I believe. So this is let's search about React. So this is a package distribution engine. So this is the npm js website, and the npm is a package manager which can help us gather these packages from the registry and pull it into our files. It gets installed into a folder called node modules, and then it in turn we can use the files and the bindings that come out of these node files. So in order to whenever we want to install React, let's say, we can run the command npm install React. We are not supposed to do it yet, but this is how we would do it. But in order to create a new project, we can do npm init -y. -y stands for applying yes to all the arguments, so that we don't have to manually fill the package.json. Otherwise, we'll have to just fill in. There is another package manager in town, which is pnpm, which is also a little newer. It has a different kind of approach towards handling these files. It tries to centralize all the files that we install, so that whenever there is duplicacy, so it deduplicates. How it deduplicates is it keeps all the node modules and related packages in the central folder in our system, let's say in our root directory, and then symlinks into our project directory, so that it can use the same file. It maintains while npm maintains a flat file structure and installs everything flat, whereas pnpm does more sim linking. Both are fine, of course. Feel free to choose whatever you like. So moving ahead, we'll be talking about a tool called Prettier. It is important to keep high quality of your code, or that's at least how the author sells ESLint and Prettier to the co-workers. So if we look at something like VS Code, if we let's say try to format the document we are configuring and we use Prettier, and let's say if I break the format and then again save it, so it automatically saves it. It saves us a lot of time. We don't have to do useless formatting stuff, and we can just focus on just writing code, and not the waste time on configuring these tabs and spaces. So Prettier is, of course, an amazing tool from the brain of James Long. Let's look at who's made this amazing guy. Should definitely give him a follow. Yeah, amazing guy. So James, like many of us, was sick of having to constantly worry about styles of his code, where to stick indents, how many, when to break lines, etc. Coming from languages like Go, Reason, Elm, where all of this was taken care of the tooling for the language. This quickly wears. James did something about it and made a tool to take care of it. Prettier, of course. Prettier is a really fancy printer. It actually uses abstract syntax tree under the hood just for the representation of code. Let's deep down a little bit about what this abstract syntax tree and how it uses to, prettify our code. What is abstract syntax tree and how is it used to prettify code in JS ecosystem? Let's see what Perplexity has to tell us. So, an abstract syntax tree is a tree like data structure used to represent abstract syntactic structure of source code. Each node in these tree components to a part of construct code, such as variables, expressions, blah blah blah. Let me give me give me images and example how it prettifies. So yeah, looking at some examples, I think this should, yeah, a parse tree. It takes an expression and then breaks it into term, factor, all this stuff. Let's say if there's const x equals 1 plus 2, it should create a AST based formatter. So, oh, interesting. Pretty cool. So, I guess this is how. So, if there's a expression, let's say, okay, let me try this. Okay, too small. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, let me take out an expression for, let's say, a plus b. So this should be a syntax tree for that. Let's say b is not b, but it's b times c. So it should be something like this. So this is how I'm assuming syntax ASTs should work. A plus b times c. So yeah, probably some complex algorithm, of course, but let's not get too into it. But yeah, this is a really great tool, but let me show you how it's installed. We can of course install Prettier globally or run it as an executable. So what npx the command does is it pulls down the binary from the registry and runs it just for this one time that you run it. And let's say in order to write these Prettier files, you can have a script that says Prettier write source app.js. So let's try this just for the heck of it. We are at, let's go inside 01. Okay, this is not what I wanted. ls. Okay, so I have an alias for pnpmdlx as px. So let me do that. Prettier dash dash write, if I can spell it properly, source slash app.js. So it should, yeah, let me just break the syntax for not, save it. That's for once, and then again, yeah. So that works. So this is how we can write using Prettier. So we can also use it in our Visual Studio Code and turn on format on save, and then this will automatically run on when you save the file. So there is in order to configure this Prettier, you can use a Prettier RC file or a Prettier.json as well. um, there are a couple of files you can read about the configuration, and like I said, you can also install a script in the scripts part of your package.json file. And when you add a format to it, let's say Prettier write whatever is inside source any directory with the file extension js, jsx, css or html, it would format it. When we run npm run format, it will execute this in our current directory. So moving on top of Prettier, we also have something called as ESLint, which is a linter. So in order to enforce some code styles which pertain more usage, for example, if we, let's say, want to force people to never use with, which is valid JS but ill advised, so ESLints come into play when we can force, when we are working in a very big team, let's say, and if we want to force these rules. So that's where ESLints come into picture. If there are any other React guidelines, let's say use effect cannot be called conditionally, or these hooks cannot be called conditionally, it should be called in the top level, or things like these, which we generally tend to forget. If we try to write code every time, we'll of course have this pattern in our minds, but having these linters speak to us or yell at us when we do these mistakes are a little nice to have. And this is how we configure ESLint. We can have this eslint.config.module.js file, and then we can set up these ESLint. So yeah, we can of course have a script as ESLint. It will just lint our whole directory and spit out the warnings and errors and shout at us to fix it all. We can also run with a debug flag, which can also give us debug files. There are other two projects, which is oxlint and biome, written in Rust, I believe. Both are written in Rust and designed to be faster than ESLint, which is written in JavaScript. ESLint at huge scale can be a bit slow, and these two projects aim to fix the bottlenecks. I'd say it's still early days on this project. 99 of the times ESLint is fast enough. Yeah, of course. When you're starting out, just use ESLint, and whenever performance bottlenecks comes, then probably look into these packages, which are very nice. Of course, coming on to Git is of course an very essential part of our project. How we can initialize Git and everything, we'll look into the next lecture. Thank you for watching.